Hey guys, welcome to Safenetwork Studio Umbiamas, conectando Aruba com o mundo via vídeo podcasting. Conectar conosco, compartilhar ideias e histórias para nos inspirar e para nos abrir. Safenetwork Studio é a plataforma de podcast na Aruba. Follow-nos no Facebook, subscribe no YouTube ou na plataforma de podcast preferida. Escute o podcast preferido que hora e onde está. Safenetwork Studio, powered by Credits, botiu ideia. Credits educava e prepara a abo para ser um empresário exitoso. De business plan, guia personal e préstamo para negócio até com 100,000 forinhos. Bira para mês donho com Credits. Subway, passa na Subway para o sop, salada, wrap ou flatbread e mais fresco. Com 7 localidades ronde Aruba, nós está cerca de Ibo. Subway. Swing Masters, organizando events, conferences of weddings, Mister de luz, sound, staging, DJ, trussing ou flat screen, Swing Masters está claro para ser boa fiesta um êxito. Swing Masters. E agora, Safenetwork Studio é plataforma de podcast de Aruba, está apresentar.
Good morning.
You gotta lower that volume. It's very loud. There we go.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
And good morning if you just woke up. And welcome to Tech Impact. And today we're gonna have lots of great information and discussion. Jean-Luc?
Yes, I've had a small preview, and I'm basically gonna learn alongside you guys again. To those listening. Sponsors.
Let's give our thanks to Subway,
Eat Fresh,
Eat Fresh, and Credits and Swing Masters for letting us do our thing here and hopefully entertain and educate and have a good time, right?
Before we step into it, I want to go over the small little prices, and I think
the small little prices. Sure.
Of the top 10 cryptocurrencies on CoinMarketCap. Right?
Tech news. Go ahead.
Tech news. Yes. Of course, Bitcoin number one. There's no statement there, but it's at 39,000 right now.
And what does that mean? That it's upward trending back?
No, it was at over 40,000 a bit, so it dipped a little bit, right? Most of the 24-hour rates are red, so
we're still in that dip.
Yeah. Ethereum at 2,700, and XRP is actually number 6 right now on CoinMarketCap somehow.
And what's its per unit?
Per unit, 80 cents.
Oh, so I did a little increase. Gonna check my my wallet.
Cardano is down.
At
90 cents. Wow.
Now's a good time to buy, people.
Yeah, now's a good time to buy. Solana is at 8 with $90 per Solana, per Sol.
Cool.
Yeah. Avalanche is number 9 right now at 83 dollars, and a new one that I need to research, Terra. Or
Oh, okay.
Terra Luna, at 50 cents at number 10.
You know, maybe in our future shows, maybe in March, let's go around the top 10 and go through each platform and kind of go through it and what they're about. I think now's a good time since we're in a dip, and you know, you can make your correct investment based on your own beliefs with the right information. And yeah, guys, so we kind of missed promoting a little bit.
Yeah.
But we're here today to talk about big tech and its inherent challenge moving towards Web 3.0. We've talked about that for a little bit. And yeah, remember, when we talk about, for example, Web 3.0, it's an idea. It's not defined yet what that really means.
It's
but
not
we can,
fully defined.
yeah, but we can take some guesses. But I want to take the time today and go through what I've discovered, because I've bought some materials, so I have a book.
Wow.
The book is called, let me push it forward.
Where did you buy it?
Of course, on Amazon.
Inescapable, isn't it?
Inescapable. But at least it's helping us get educated. So, Blockchain Wars: The Future of Big Tech, Monopolies, and the Blockchain Internet. And you know, I've been going through it, and I think what's important is for us to understand a bit more why we are in transition.
Okay. But I think a very key term to understand in order to kind of keep up when moving forward is, what do you talk about when we mean big tech?
Yeah, so let's start with web. So Web 1 was the internet offering information. Right?
AOL.
The AOL days. Well, AOL is already the rise of Web 2, which is, you know, social mediums and communication, right? So reading and writing, they call that. And Web 2 is basically where big tech arose. There was no definite plan from companies. They entered a new territory, as, for example, big tech right now from the book is called what he coins the American big tech, because there's another interesting I want to talk about. So from the book written by Evan McFarland, very interesting book.
McFarland.
Yeah, McFarland.
I've heard that name before.
Well, yes, but I think it's like from productions. But anyway, let's stick to the theme. So he coins FAAMG, the big tech we're talking about in this context. I think for Aruba, it's what counts. So that would be Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, right?
Yeah.
And if you just think about that for a second, all of them came from very different origins. So Apple is a hardware software company that basically offers, you know, turnkey solutions for computing to the consumer market.
Wait. Turnkey solutions.
Turnkey solutions.
Turnkey solutions.
Yeah. So, for example, you used to buy just a box, right? Now at Apple, you buy the box with the software, and in the software, there's a lot of utility pre-installed. So it's a turnkey computing experience.
Interesting. So you just
The iMac was that.
So it's
The first iMac, the color iMac was revolutionary because it dumped some things and put in one package one whole computer experience. Better. I mean, they've been doing it with the beige versions of Apple before, and the clones. And they had Mac OS 8.1 and a graphic user interface. But as it evolved, you got music software for free and photo management. You see what I'm saying? So back in those days, you would get Microsoft 98 and you're going to have to configure all your software. Right? So anyway, Apple is big tech. Because, I mean, most of us, or at least the American market, is dominated by Apple products. But if you look at Microsoft, they came from software and then generated the cloud. Right? And Apple also has cloud. And Google has cloud. But they were a search engine. So anyway, their story coming to today as a big tech company, they're all in big data.
Data collection.
And this is what we're talking about what is the recurring theme going forward into Web 3.0, which is trying to tackle the issue of Web 2. And that's what I want to talk about today. What are the apparent issues that we need to be aware of so we can kind of think about what the future holds if we want a emancipating experience online, right? So it has to help humanity move forward and not suppress us. And these are the warning signs that we have. So I kind of want to go through some things that I wrote. So death of privacy.
The death of privacy.
Death of privacy seems to be something that they've predicted before the internet. So in 1966, Alan Watts wrote a book called on the Taboo Against Knowing Who You Are. And in his book, he talks about technology in general promoting the community mind. And that will go at stake of privacy. So they already kind of knew that. And now it's becoming more apparent. Right? So what do you think about death of privacy right now?
I mean, George Orwell, 1984, you know, so Big Brother, a force watching over you constantly and an inescapable gaze, right? Right.
Well, interesting framework is, here's what we don't want. I'm going to skip on my notes. Is a digital totalitarian state.
Yeah.
That's what we don't want. Right?
No.
This is the enemy. And George Orwell talks about totalitarian state.
Yes.
Right? And
yes.
because of the time it was written and the technologies available, it was like physical surveillance and culture and law and legislation and control and passports and even beliefs and what's allowed and not allowed.
Yeah.
What's interesting, if you compare it to George Orwell, what we're facing is that we're consenting to digital totalitarian states.
Totalitarian states, yeah.
And that's what I want to kind of expand on.
Yeah, every time I agree to the terms and service, it's that.
Well, going back to the death of privacy, that could be the sister or brother of constant surveillance, right? So those two things kind of match. So here are some other terminologies that I liked and I dared to explore. So international data privacy laws. Did you know, and I'm going to pull something out. I did a lot of work for you guys this morning. If you look for it online right now, 71 countries in the world, 71%, have a data protection law, and they're all very different.
Of course.
And one would even argue that to stop totalitarianism, that's a mouthful.
Good.
Governments have a role to play.
Yes.
Right?
Speaking of which, right, there was recent news that Meta was not happy with the European Union.
Of course not.
Because they introduced new privacy protection laws, right?
Exactly.
And Facebook threatened to take away their services from the entirety of Europe. And from what I've been able to gather from all of the memes that came out of that feeling is most of Europe is basically daring them to do it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You can see that there's a stronger social awareness, I would say, in Europe. Obviously, you know, an American would call it a socialistic piece of land. But going back to human rights, I mean, that's where revolution was birthed, right? So they've cut the chains of feudal Europe a long time ago. So the French, for example, are the leaders of that. So I think that's interesting, and that's a nice thing to point out, because I'll move on, right? So loss of privacy, rise of a community mind is inevitable. So we have to be aware and be careful.
Looking at your notes.
Looking at my notes. I'm sorry for the pause. So let's go a little bit even further. So this Web 2, that's one of the issues. So privacy and surveillance is kind of happening.
Kind of
happening.
Snowden.
Yeah, and what's interesting, here's another interesting stated sentence, is that in the opinion of the writer, he says that governments are held to much higher standards of privacy. Standards are expected from government, but those standards do not replicate for corporations, right? So, for example, if people found out that the CIA is in your phone, then all hell breaks loose. But people are literally consenting from social media platforms to be able to do exactly that.
I think that, so now that I think about that, right, a reasonable reason, right? Oh my God.
A reasonable reason.
Yeah, a reasonable reason, right? Would be that
a reasonable motivation.
Yeah, right. A plausible explanation behind that, right, would be that the people in government are the people you vote for, right? Usually, right? Or that's what it's supposed to be, right? The people
Democracy.
in government, right, is that you put them there, right? That makes the government a human body, right? So you put your standards on there. But usually people view corporations as soulless corporations. Not something that they themselves put people there. No, it's just the soulless corporation known as Facebook. So then your standards would be slightly different.
Well, obviously I have an extreme opinion about that.
Of course.
So if you take a helicopter view on the status of things, is that if something can be exploited, they do that.
Oh, yeah.
And now let's talk about that for a second. Corporation, soulless corporation. Social corporate responsibility is a word of your generation, hopefully.
Yes.
And basically, the big social media platforms have been caught favoring revenue over human rights.
Yes.
That's the big issue of 2021 and 2, right? But let's put a lens on Cambridge Analytica. And
Cambridge
Analytica. That was there's a documentary about that. Whistleblower. I forgot the name. I'm sure our listeners can help us with that. But they maximized efficiency of sale through demographic data collection, age, gender, location, with psychographic information, which is ad resonance, lifestyle, and consumer confidence. They were doing something very interesting.
Consumer confidence?
Right. They are specialists in the psychographic data. But what's interesting, the product is cross-referencing this with your online behavior is enough to create a personality profile.
Oh.
And this personality profile, they combine with something called Ocean, openness, consciousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. And imagine all of that information coming just from your behavior without having met you is so effective that they can, through that profiling, send you cookies and targeted ads and turn you into or convert you into a sale. And specifically, he talks about a very interesting political character called Ted Cruz and gun rights. And they actually know which profile turns into a conversion. For example, neuroticism and consciousness have to be on the low end and a high openness.
Interesting.
Something along those lines. But what's interesting is that they affected 222 million people in the U.S.
222 million.
It was boasted by the executive staff. They were super proud of that.
That's an amazing sample size, really.
But going back to the issues at hand, is that they were, in the end, unethical, but not unlawful. But through reputation, they got ruined. But it extends, if you extend the lens, it's actually most social media platforms that have turned their business into a data-driven business. Right?
Yeah.
So these are problems. These are directions to that totalitarian state that we don't want. And if you don't want George Orwell in this new world, it's a little bit more complicated, right?
It's funny. The way that that team like made pretty much targeted ads, right? Like this is a very dark joke, but I wish that those people would have made ads for me, because the ads I'm getting these days, man, I hate them.
Yeah, but
Disgusting.
remember, if you don't like
Horrible.
something, there's usually a button. I don't like this. Click on that. Like on YouTube, when I get something and I don't like it,
You can click that on the video ads that they play to interrupt your.
well, no, but
yeah,
I can
exactly.
I can morph. I can change my algorithm
yeah.
by
Not
giving it
interested.
input.
Yeah,
giving
yeah.
it
No,
input.
but the ads, it's been the same for the past few months. I want to raid Shadow Legends back.
Well, I have two accounts. I have two accounts. One of my accounts is my music account. I call myself Low Tidify.
Nice.
I have aspirations of putting ambient guitar music on that with some lo-fi hip hop beats. It's just not happening, obviously. But then I have Bruce Harms. So when I have these two profiles, I get a very different view of the internet through my little window. Let's continue a bit. So Cambridge Analytica is actually doing standard practices of big data, right?
So it's the standard.
Standard practices,
Okay,
right?
Okay. So, this is
So-
the norm. It's another day.
But now, talking about the challenges, the FAA, what was it? FAAMG, right? Facebook, Apple, Amazon,
Amazon,
and
Microsoft
and Google.
FAMG.
Now are taking different positions. So Apple says they don't want to be in the business of user data. You don't have to, obviously, because they're in hardware. They think it's a liability, and they're right, but they're in that privileged position of having products being sold to the world, and that gets
physical
manufactured,
products.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's different.
Google doesn't have that. Wait, Google does have that. Google has
Google wants to enter that space for many reasons, right? So in America, they have the Google phone, Google Fi.
Yeah.
We don't have that on Aruba yet, but I'm pretty sure when we get into the Internet of Things, which is, well, I'm kind of jumping the gun, but let's go ahead. Let's just throw it out there. So the future, when we're in a world of Internet of Things, they talk about the following.
Wait. What is the Internet of Things?
The Internet, a world you live in where the Internet is omnipresent and everything is touched by the Internet and used by the Internet. So, for example,
don't we live in the days of the Internet of Things already?
not really. We're in transition. So we're at now, there's a boundary between being online and being offline. So, for example, if Jean-Luc and Bruce choose tomorrow to go offline by not being near our computers, turning them off and turning off the internet, right, at our house, turning off our phones, we're not online.
Yeah.
There's a boundary.
Yeah.
But let's jump the gun, go ahead, straight into the future. Web 3.0 is the internet start implementing actuators and nodes, NFC, RFID, QR codes. The physical world will start contributing internet data. So, for example, let's jump 60 years. I am a extreme fringe humanitarian that is against being online. You know, let's imagine this world. And I'm walking around Aruba, and Aruba is a smart city. And it's being monitored for great experiences. You've got digital passes happening, all natural through your watch or through your headphones. And there's anonymous walking. I'm anonymous 432 walking the streets, right? Because we've got all these sensors helping. The Internet of Things is happening. The vacuum cleaners are sending data. Your screen is recording to give you customized experiences. Alexa is your psychologist, and your bathroom is checking your stool and giving you health updates.
You know, that would actually be pretty handy.
Now, but that's the true Web 4, by the way.
Oh, Web
That's,
4.
That would be Web 4.
I honestly do not think that if we haven't even reached nor defined Web 3.0 in a concrete manner that we should be theorizing.
But think about a consenting totalitarian state with all this technology, which is kind of the risk. So what's important in this transition in 3, that it's done in a way where we, the people, have, I think, transparency and a little bit of a say over the governance of things. So stepping a bit back, Web 3 could be the everywhere computing web.
The everywhere computing web.
That's that example where I'm walking around trying to be offline, but I'm still...
You're still online.
I'm inputting data.
Yeah.
They're tracking me as just I'll be anonymous. And I'll have a number. And as soon as I enter a certain gateway, for example, a plane, that data gets connected and boom, I'm online. Because my passport will go digital.
Yeah.
That's where we're going. We're already kind of there. So what do you think of that? Are you scared of that?
Horrified.
Horrified. But you're an enormous participant.
I know.
As a representative of your generation.
Yeah. So
could you live without your phone?
I could live, right? But it would be a little bit annoying, right? I would need to have someone else to be the segue.
Sounds like a phone, huh?
Yeah, it sounds like a phone.
That's called Pavlov reactions.
Yeah,
you can be conditioned.
Yeah. Sorry for any viewers who also thought that was an alarm or a phone.
It's our backing track.
But
let's change it.
Yeah.
We're at Soppy Mix. We can do whatever we want. Go ahead.
So when it comes to my generation, right? As far as I'm aware, right? There is a growing number of people my age who are becoming more and more aware and are trying to find means of subverting this, right? Or one small but effective way is just not being on Facebook anymore, right?
Right. You're applying your right as a consumer to make change by amending your behavior, your purchase behavior, your consuming behavior. Yes, I agree. That's why this show is here. That's why we talk about Brave and we talk about surveillance capitalism. And this is where we end up. We end up that if I say, hey, they're tracking you, you say, well, I don't care. But when I say, hey, they're tracking your age, where you are, what you're doing, how you feel, and they can predict what you're going to do, then people start getting nervous.
Yeah, that's the issue. Yeah.
And I think that's why I thought it was really important to talk about something I didn't know about, which is even the psychographic data. And the computers are getting really good at even predicting what we're going to do.
Amazing.
And
horrifying.
Exploitable.
Yeah. So
going back to solutions, right? So what's the solution to these issues, do you think?
A like social corporate responsibility.
Yes.
Right? Make the corporations have social responsibility that their owner that basically force them to have more responsibilities for the environment of the communities that they participate in, right?
Or impact,
especially, right? And more participation in law and or via voting and everything, right? But to have them enforce privacy protecting laws in order to be able to protect the data of the people as much as we can, right?
And this is where the fight begins. I say the following. I say, let's make sure we all understand our digital rights and through consensus get there. And let's trust our experts and especially our mission towards a sustainable future as the commandments towards that. So my humble opinion is the social development goals of Aruba, which is a prosperous future, inclusive, climate action, and data privacy and empowerment are things that are hard to envision in a big data world that is monopolized.
Yeah.
Right? So I think there's going to be a combination of things. Because centralized, I think, here we go. I think in the end, the internet, the way it works, blockchain is just a small part of the total infrastructure.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
we are, as users, we use the internet. So we basically ask for information from a server, and that's centralized systems, right? So the servers are where the money is.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, Amazon, that started a business as a platform for sales, competing with eBay, became really good at it and then started giving that as a service. So AWS, for example. But blockchain offers a new configuration of transparency with offering data solutions to developers. So coming back from, let's say, Jean-Luc, after 4 years of Coder Dojo, wants to develop an app.
Sure.
The apps you're going to develop are configured by third-party solutions, right? So, so Jean-Luc is building an app for tracking educational students here on the island. Well, it's all APIs and servers and all this third-party. So at what point are you really creating, or are you just architecting an experience?
No,
You know, but that's how it is now.
that's how it is, right? But some people can go through the effort of doing it all from scratch as well.
Of course. So here we come to the final conclusion, is that one of our biggest enemies for stagnation is convenience.
Convenience, yes.
Right? So
yes,
uncomfortability and challenge is where innovation happens. And I think that's what's going to propel these exciting new configurations, these technologies, these developers, software. And let me go to the solution, that where I'm at, and we're going to finish up soon. I think if you think about data servers, services, I did not know this, but there's blockchain data services. And I'll give you some examples. Yeah, I've saved them in my other browser. So I went to take a look, and I found, for example, IPFS.io is a peer-to-peer hypermedia protocol designed to preserve and grow humanity's knowledge by making the web upgradable, resilient, and more open. Now, that sounds great.
Sounds great.
Sounds great.
But how?
Well, basically, they're trying to come up with other ways than HTTP and TCP/IP.
I remember there was an announcement that in Europe specifically, there is a new protection, like HTTP, that's going to be outdated very soon, and they've updated.
HTTPS.
Yeah. Now.
Secure socket. Every website I make nowadays, or have made, it's kind of required by the browser even to put secure sockets for security reasons, to protect the consumer. And I think that's very important. I think the internet community, as it grows and as younger people come in, they're going to want more protection and more visibility of what's going on. I'll give you some more. You have Etherswarm, so Ethereum.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Swarm is a decentralized storage and communication system for sovereign digital society. Here we go.
Sovereign.
Beautiful, beautiful words. I love that. Okay. Swarm is a system of peer-to-peer network nodes. That's the thing. Here's that decentralized.
Yeah.
Right. I also found a nice one. It's called Maid, as a maid that helps you clean the house.
Oh, Maid.
Maid Safe. And they have something called Safenetwork.tech. And freedom of expression, control of personal data, private and secure communications, and a whole new economy. Welcome to Safenetwork. So there are a lot of interesting contributors to technology that are thinking about Web 3.0 in that liberating way. So to my listeners, to our listeners, go check this out. It's very interesting stuff. So go search Web3 in general and read about it. And you will not find this one opinion, but you'll find it's a reaction to a problem which is great because it mirrors us as liberated democratic people that have choices.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's awesome, and I'm excited, even though all these issues. I mean, I'm on Facebook. They're selling my data. If they would offer me a profile for a fee, like a Netflix fee, I would buy it. Because it's sort of a place where I upload my photos and I can track my friends, and I'm willing to pay for that. I think they just don't know that yet.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I don't think their shareholders would ever allow it. So Facebook out there, you can do it. Offer it to me. Offer me a transparent profile, a meta page, and that you won't sell my data at all. You'll keep it to me and even give me some logs or something. And let me choose my advertiser for a fee or for BAT. Sign a deal with BAT.
But when it comes to what I think my generation will do, right? But I'm personally at the precipice of two, right? I'm the youngest of the millennials, right? But I'm also the oldest of Gen Z, right?
Oh God, I don't even care to know these things.
It doesn't.
There's
some cultural differences, right?
Right.
Also some value things, but we're not gonna get into that. Right now, it does seem quite dark, right? Quite grim. How big tech, pretty much, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and Google are basically that group holds most of the data and runs most of the websites that we use on a day-to-day basis, right? And getting out of that would be very difficult, right? But you said earlier that through technology, privacy will die, right?
Well, it's a phenomenon that they're aware of. Not that it will die. It's not a prediction. But it's something that we have to be aware of.
Exactly. Right?
Aware of, excuse me.
And I have reason to believe that it's not dead yet, because if it were, then InfoSec and OPSEC would be viewed as pointless, right?
Elaborate. I don't know what that is.
InfoSec and OPSEC, it's pretty much small little subsects, small little communities that practice InfoSec and OPSEC, which is basically protecting and withholding as much information of yourself while you can while browsing through the internet.
Right.
And holding public and participating in public platforms.
So what's that called?
There's InfoSec and there's OPSEC.
InfoSec.
Yeah.
Like section or sect?
Maybe. I don't remember.
InfoSec and OPSEC. So operations.
Operations, and information.
Right. Interesting. Well, I'm attempting. I basically haven't abandoned Chrome because of convenience. I still have some keychains in there that I still use. And I'm like in Brave, and oh man, I don't even remember the password, right? So password management. So you see, it's again, I confirm my own thesis that convenience is something that keeps us in the box.
How I view it's probably gonna happen is we're most likely going to have like digital passports that's tied to a few key accounts, right? Maybe
we already have that because Facebook has been used now to create accounts all over cross websites all over the world for IMDb login with Facebook. So
exactly.
They've been trying to become the digital ID in the free sector. Or in the, let's call it the data economy or the internet economy, whatever you want to call it.
But there's still ways to be as anonymous as you can, right? Your behavior will always be tracked. But so long you are aware of that, you can use that to your advantage, really.
Yeah, I think you can throw them some curveballs, you know, like search for something random.
Or you could make separate accounts for separate aspects of your life.
I have that. I have a couple of accounts.
There you go.
And I sometimes even log into YouTube with no account, and then you get like boom entertainment. You know, it's amazing how it's amazing to think about. Billions of pages available, billions of pages of great information, and we basically have a little space of let's give it the best resolution possible, 4,000 pixels and 3,000 pixels. And we feel like we have the internet in our pockets. But it's like saying that, okay, I have this library and I could read all the books, but I read one page a minute and my lifetime cannot cover the information in the library. And remember, the library, you got to take a library and make the whole island the library full of books. You know, and I sometimes struggle with that. I go, oh man, what are we gonna do? But then the answer is stick to your interest and niche, and care about your community. And struggle with that. Struggle with Aruba. Struggle with the Caribbean. Let's focus here on this space and not worry about what's happening elsewhere unless it's trending and it's beneficial to you. Oh, and let me say one last thing. Going back to what is big tech, the list on Wikipedia of largest internet companies is the following as of today. Amazon with a revenue of 386 billion and has 1.2, well, let's just say it, 1.3 million employees.
Damn.
Right? Alphabet, which is Google, we found out a couple of 2 weeks ago, is 182 billion. So it's kind of like half revenue in 2020, and here we go, 135,000.
Damn.
So I can already imagine the distribution logistics employing these people. And they have 220 billion, and I bet you that 1 million of those people hardly get a decent paycheck. Probably.
Strange.
Not strange. That's what happens sometimes. And I mean, they've been doing it forever. Kmart exported all their production to China because they can get cheaper labor, right? So these are things we have to just be aware about. And guess what? The number 3 is JD.com. That's a Chinese software company with 114 billion revenue and has triple the amount of workers as Alphabet, which is Google.
Interesting.
Very interesting. And then we have Meta at 85 billion revenue in 2020 and employs only 58,000. And I bet you know what those people do?
Tell me.
They're in a box doing content moderation.
I've heard horror stories.
Yes, people going. We have a enormous capacity to do horrible things if there are no consequences. Continuing on quickly, we have the next 4 companies are all in China, and they're social. They're internet, e-commerce, and social media. ByteDance is 34 billion, and then at number 10, PayPal.
Wow.
And then after PayPal, Salesforce, and then on the 12th, there's a German company in e-commerce called the Otto Group.
Microsoft? Where's Microsoft?
Spotify is number 23.
What?
Adobe is number 16 with 12 billion. Yahoo is number 27.
Yahoo's alive?
Yahoo's still alive and kicking.
Wow.
Expedia, 34. Expedia has one of the highest conversion rates on the internet, turning about, I think it's what, they have an amazing turnover, which is over 16%, which is in internet terms huge. They know how to get people to buy.
Interesting.
Airbnb is number 45.
Nice.
And GoDaddy. That's a GoDaddy. We all know GoDaddy. I hate GoDaddy. Don't do it. 47 at 3 billion. And I'm trying to get to what we know.
Wow. I see.
Dropbox 76. Grubhub 78.
He's scrolling.
I'm scrolling quickly.
Yeah.
And we'll end at number 99. Craigslist. America's Marktplatz at 1 billion. 2018, by the way. So.
Oh, a little older. I mean, wasn't Craigslist like? Isn't it gone?
I have no idea.
I remember reading somewhere where the Craigslist services were retired.
Now, obviously, thinking about a smart city, Amazon will have its finger in there because they offer turnkey solution for server
services.
management. I mean, it's amazing. AWS is an amazing experience for the power user because it has virtual machines and you have full control. It's an amazing piece of software, and that's one thing that centralization offers is great research and development. That's their strength. Solutions that simply work, whereas open source goes through, its debugging phases, and I think that's a little bit of the conflict in real adoption, right? So if we want that Web3 that we're empowered, that's where the struggle will be, because they're light years ahead. It's going to take a long time. And the future probably looks like a fusion, or maybe even some of these big techs start taking over these ideals. You see Apple doing that and empowering their buyers of the phone, transparency tools, right? There's a light that goes on when the data is being shared.
Or now.
So I think that's interesting. And by the way, guys, this is the first chapter. I'm going to do some more research for us. And
Part 1.
Yeah, part 1. And by next week, we'll have part 2 and start talking about the exciting things that are in the horizon, right over the horizon. Right? As a good singer once said, the sun never sets, it's only in another place.
Oh, very nice.
Very nice. Anything you want to add, Jean-Luc?
I wonder how many pixels we take on your screen, dear viewers.
I think it's 1080p. 1920 by 1080.
That's if we're full screened.
Yeah, but aren't we full screen right now?
No, but that's our screen. I'm talking about their screen.
Again, it would be 1980 by 1920 by 1080 pixels, and then the pixels becomes 4 times bigger if it's 4K.
We're probably on another tab though, in the background while they're doing stuff.
We're probably on somebody's laptop, or I don't think we have many viewers at the moment, but they'll dial in later tonight.
Yeah.
Right?
I hope whatever you're cooking that it's being cooked well.
Are we being silly?
We're being meta.
We have to be, don't we? Yeah. So look, I'm looking forward to reading about it and sharing with the community. And I try not to be a pessimist, but having a pessimistic view doesn't mean you cannot be excited about the things that can happen. In contrast. So that's what I'm excited about. So we'll be sharing the links later. Go check out the decentralized blockchain server solutions they have available. Super cool. And we'll see you guys next week.
Sponsors.
Thank you to Subway.
Swing Masters.
And credits for making this possible. And hope to see you guys soon.
Till next week.
Till next week.